Colorado's been in the news a lot, even today, with a ruling out from the U.S. Supreme Court saying that Colorado once again violated the free speech and religious liberty rights of its citizens. Well, there's a bill that's going to be heard in House committee today, HB 261309, that if you're a parent, you need to listen to this. You need to know what is being considered by the state of Colorado to take away your rights with your child. Now, this bill would specifically apply in situations where parents are getting custody of their child. So like divorce proceedings or, whenever a child custody agreement is being re-looked at. So this doesn't apply right now to every single parent out there. You would actually have to be in a custody type situation. But since a lot of parents do find themselves in those situations, this bill is very, very threatening to parental rights, and I would argue, as an attorney myself, unconstitutional as written. But you need to know about it. Here's what it does. It gives a very broad definition of coercive control, and it makes coercive control fit under the definition of domestic abuse or domestic violence in Colorado. And what this law says is that if you have committed domestic violence, then there's going to be a presumption that you should not see your kids and you should not get custody of your children. And so in order to find whether or not you've committed domestic violence against your child, they look at this broad definition of coercive control. So I'm going to read part of it to you. The first part is fine. It's talking about actual abuse. But then it gets into the bad part. Coercive control, and I'm quoting now, includes a pattern of behavior that takes away the individual's liberty or freedom and strips away the individual's sense of self, including the individual's bodily integrity and human rights. Coercive control includes isolating the individual from support, exploiting the individual, depriving the individual of independence, and regulating the individual's everyday behavior. And then it actually goes on and gives an entire long list of other things that could be considered coercive control. Now, here's the problem. That's an extremely broad definition. Think about, as a parent, if you are depriving your child of independence, what does that mean? That could literally mean you are tracking your child through the Find My Phone app, and you're tracking their location to make sure they are where they told you they would be, or that they are at a safe place where you dropped them off for sports or for a class. It could also mean if you have supervision over your child's banking account and they're a minor, so you can actually shut off their access to their funds because maybe they're spending it irresponsibly, or it's part of a grounding punishment that you've given them. Well, that is depriving them of independence. Regulating the individual's everyday behavior. I mean, come on, what do parents actually do? Of course we regulate our child's everyday behavior. We tell them they have to go to school. That's infringing on their independence. We tell them which friends are good for them and which aren't, because that's our responsibility as a parent. It is not domestic violence. And so in addition to the fact that this is so broad, it could literally take a child away from any parent in a custody situation for any reason whatsoever. It also removes the seriousness of actual domestic violence, where children are actually being abused and should not be put with that parent. This degrades and takes away the seriousness of real offenses like that. One of the other things that it defines as coercive control is, quote, monitoring, surveilling, regulating, or controlling the individual's activities, communications, or movements, including through technology. So that's where you get the using apps to track your child's location, or also, their finances, telling them what they can spend money on and what they can't. There's also parts of this bill that would prohibit a parent from stopping their child from transitioning into a different gender or taking medications. It would also prevent a dad from discouraging, his daughter from having an abortion. Like, there's so many limitations on what a parent can even say to their child or help them in their lives or act in their best interest. This is a terrible bill. It absolutely needs to be shut down.